Whatever happened to Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s 10 siblings? Is the so-called Kennedy curse real? Or is it just a myth tied to one of America's most powerful families? The Kennedy name is legendary, but behind the wealth, fame, and political power lies a history filled with triumphs, tragedies, and controversies. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is one of 11 children born to Robert F. Kennedy and Ethel Kennedy. While RFK Jr. has made plenty of headlines, especially with his controversial presidential campaign, what about his siblings? Where are they now? What happened to the Kennedy family after decades of political influence and devastating loss? 6. A childhood under the public eye. Growing up as a Kennedy meant being in the spotlight from day one. RFK Jr. and his 10 siblings, Kathleen, Joseph II, David, Courtney, Michael, Carrie, Christopher, Max, Douglas, and Rory, split their childhood between their homes in Virginia and Massachusetts. Their Virginia estate, Hickory Hill, was originally owned by John F. Kennedy and Jackie Kennedy before Robert and Ethel took over. It became a hub of activity, with Ethel raising all 11 children there, even after her husband's assassination in 1968. Summers were spent at the famous Kennedy compound in Hyannisport, Cape Cod, where the children were raised communally with their cousins. RFK Jr. has described it as a magical paradise, where they spent their days horseback riding, sailing, and playing competitive sports. The Kennedy family valued discipline, physical endurance, and public service, ideals that shaped each sibling's future. 5. The night that changed everything. Robert F. Kennedy Sr. was assassinated on June 5, 1968, shortly after winning the California Democratic primary. His death left behind his pregnant wife Ethel and 10 children who had to navigate life without their father. RFK Jr. was just 14 at the time, and the loss deeply affected him and his siblings. His mother, Ethel, encouraged them to stay strong, often reminding them that other children suffered hardships as well. But no amount of strength could shield the Kennedy children from tragedy, because over the years, more heartbreak would follow. 4. Tragedy strikes again, the Kennedy curse. The idea of a Kennedy curse has long been whispered about. Given the number of tragic deaths in the family, for RFK Jr. and his siblings, the losses were personal and painful. David Kennedy, the fourth child of Robert and Ethel, David struggled with substance abuse following his father's assassination. In 1984, he died of a drug overdose at the age of 28 in a Palm Beach hotel room. Friends and family noted that he never fully recovered from witnessing his father's death on live television as a 13-year-old. Michael Kennedy, the sixth Kennedy sibling, met a tragic fate in 1997 when he died in a skiing accident in Aspen, Colorado. He was 39 years old and left behind 3 children. His death further fueled the belief that the family was cursed. Saoirse Kennedy Hill, the granddaughter of RFK Sr. and daughter of Courtney Kennedy, Saoirse died of an accidental drug overdose in 2019 at the age of 22. Maeve Kennedy McKean and Gideon McKean. In April 2020, Kathleen Kennedy Townsend's daughter Maeve and her 8-year-old son Gideon drowned in a tragic canoeing accident. These incidents, along with the assassinations of Robert and John F. Kennedy, have only strengthened the idea of the Kennedy curse. But not all the siblings believe in it. As RFK Jr. himself said, everybody takes their licks. Number 3, the siblings who followed their father's footsteps. Despite the tragedies, many of RFK Jr.'s siblings have pursued careers similar to their father's in law, politics, and public service. Kathleen Kennedy. Townsend, the eldest sibling, Kathleen, served as Maryland's first female lieutenant governor from 1995 to 2003. However, she became the first Kennedy to lose an election in 1986 when she unsuccessfully ran for a U.S. House seat. Joseph Kennedy II served as a U.S. representative for Massachusetts from 1987 to 1999. He briefly considered running for governor in 1997, but dropped out following a scandal involving his younger brother, Michael. Carrie Kennedy, a human rights activist and president of Robert F. Kennedy. Human rights, she has dedicated her career to social justice causes like mass incarceration and gender-based violence. Max Kennedy, a lawyer and author, Max has worked on numerous humanitarian and political projects. continuing his father's legacy in public service. Number 2. The sibling divide, RFK Jr.'s controversial stance. While the Kennedy family is known for being politically active, RFK Jr. has made headlines for his controversial views, particularly his stance on vaccines and conspiracy theories. This has created a divide between him and many of his siblings. In 2022, when RFK Jr. compared vaccine mandates to the Holocaust, his sister Carrie called his comments sickening and destructive. In July 2023, RFK Jr. claimed that COVID-19 was engineered to spare Jewish and Chinese people. His siblings quickly denounced his statement, calling it deplorable and untruthful. When RFK Jr. launched his presidential campaign in 2023, 4 of his siblings, Rory, Carrie, Joe, and Kathleen, released a statement calling his candidacy dangerous. Despite these disagreements, RFK Jr. has insisted that he still loves his family, stating, "We just plain disagree on certain issues." Number 1. The endorsement that shocked his family. In August 2024, RFK Jr. dropped out of the presidential race and endorsed Republican nominee Donald Trump. This decision was met with outrage from 5 of his siblings, Kathleen, Carrie, Joe, Rory, and Courtney, who released a statement calling it a betrayal of the values that our father and our family hold most dear. The statement emphasized their support for the Democratic ticket, saying, "We believe in Kamala Harris and Tim Walz." This public rebuke further highlighted the deep political divide within the Kennedy family,